Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is a very random unboxing. I don't know, I was just in between calls with my work and figured, hey, why not? Why not just do a live stream? I'm going to show a cool, quick unboxing. And actually, I'm going to show you something kind of cool that I'm working on probably for Instagram. I'm going to do some fun thing on Instagram. I want to show that as well. I'm also going to talk about today's video a little bit that I already aired earlier today. And yeah, so it's going to be a bunch of stuff all in this very impromptu video. So hey, K-Munin. Thanks for always asking great questions, K-Munin. So yeah, so this is just a very impromptu comic unboxing, plus a little bit of bonus random stuff as well. I'm actually going to show the book that I showed in the video from today. So I did a preview video, which is really me just kind of hyping up my viewers, my subscribers, about the comic book unboxing that I'll be doing next week. It's going to be a massive unboxing. Actually, it's not only a big unboxing, but it's an unboxing where I found two treasures, two massive books that are just really cool that are going to be in that unboxing. So next week, the treasure hunt begins with the comic book unboxing that I'll be doing. And it's just these two Grail books that are mixed in, and I didn't know where they were because, you know, when I get these unboxings from my Stackery account, they take them and just stuff it all together. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a mixture of random stuff. Hey, Epoch. So sometimes I don't know where the big books are. And when I do my videos, I just take out random stacks of books to show when I do the unboxings. So I don't know where the big books are when I do the unboxings. So it's always a surprise when, oh, all of a sudden I see this massive book out of like just some random group of books. I'll show like a Barbie and then it's like a Grail book. It's like, what the heck? It doesn't always make sense. But so next week is kind of that experience where you get to see that treasure hunt of finding a big book mixed in with some still big books, but not to the same level. You'll see what I mean if you start watching the videos for the next, it's like 10 unboxings, but every one of them has great books, and then just one that's just like, or two actually, that are just phenomenal, next level kind of stuff. So yeah, hi 22 Comics. So yeah, so first of all, I want to just do a quick clarification about a comic that I showed in today's video, which was the preview for next week's videos. Is this one. I showed this one in the comic unboxing preview. And this, I didn't know when I looked at it. I kind of thought it looked like Dan DeCarlo art, but it doesn't say Dan DeCarlo. Hi, Regman. Hi, Falco. So yeah, so this is Dan DeCarlo art. Normally with Dan DeCarlo, you'll see like a signature where it'll say Dan DeCarlo. So I was like looking at it and I was like, I'm not sure why it doesn't say Dan DeCarlo on it. You know, there's certain artists where they always sign their names. A good example of that is Dan DeCarlo. But Johnny Craig always signs his books. Jack Davis always signs his books. Alex Schomburg always signs his books. And Dan DeCarlo is one of those ones that always signs his books. So when I didn't see the signature, I was like, oh, a little bit confused. So I just wanted to clarify about that because somebody commented, and I hate when I get those comments, oh, you didn't recognize the artist? I'm like, yeah, I recognize the artist, but I didn't recognize the fact that his signature wasn't there. So I just wanted to clarify that. I always like to address my comments. I want to go into this unboxing, but I'm looking around my room, and I have no idea where I put my, here it is. I was wondering where it was. I have like a knife that I use, So I'm going to show you what's inside this. And actually, there's a funny story before I open this up. I actually have a really funny story about this book. So now that I've moved to Ottawa, I get mail delivered directly to my house. And because it's directly to my house, there's packages that come, and they either put them on my front doorstep or they try to stuff them into my very small mail slot that's on my door. And the people that built this house, or not built it, but kind of remodeled the house, I should say, like just kind of brought it up to current standards. They basically gutted the house, spent like $1.5 million or something crazy on upgrading this house. And they put in this really thick front door, just intensely thick. It's like this massive front door to this house. And yo, big dog, did you get any, you got any little lot of comics? So basically what happened was we had this big door and we had this little mail slot. And the mail slot has this weird hinge on it where it's kind of really, it's hard to put the mail in. So what happened was, usually when we get mail, the post office people try to stuff it in, gets all crunched up and just mangled. It's totally mangled, whatever they try to put into the mail slot. So this book clearly says, do not bend. And it actually has it all over the front as well. So it's like repeated, do not bend. And the mail slot is barely, it's not even really wide enough for this book. It's like, it's maybe about that wide. So they're like, you could tell that they were trying to get it in, but there's no way. So I have to give whoever sent this book, they did a good job of making sure that it was not bendable. And if it was maybe packaged poorly, people would have totally tried to bend this to get it into the mail slot. But fortunately, it was stiff enough where they couldn't get it in. And it was sort of dangling out of my door. It was like the weirdest thing. I could just see like the corner of it that had managed to make it through the door slot. So fortunately, they did not mangle it. Oh, sorry. Any little lotta. Oh, a little lotta. So sorry. That's sort of funny. I got a bunch of little lottas. Actually, in the next unboxing, you'll see a bunch of little lottas. They're blind or illiterate, probably both. I'm going to just assume both. So that was fortunate that this didn't get mangled. So this is the box. This is the inside of that. We'll try to open it up. I have no idea what this is, so it should be interesting. Good. Hopefully it's nothing too risque. I'm always paranoid. I get like some adultish comic or something like that, because I do like a sexy comic sometimes. Let's see. Hopefully it's something child friendly and good for people to see. So yeah, one sec here. I'm just trying to break. Oh, okay. This is a good one. So I mentioned Jack Davis just quickly there, and this is kind of like Jack Davis, very kind of. It's like, how do I have to really say that it's kind of like Jack Davis. I'll get into that in a second once I can get it out. Oh my goodness, they really taped it down though. Okay. 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 So this is a really cool book, actually. This is one I wish I had a little bit earlier, but I was having problems getting it. It's one where, as I drop it on the floor, people laugh at the size of my mailbox. I can fit a medium-sized flat box. It's the reason, though, that I don't want them to think that I'm bending any books. So that's great. Yeah, my mail size is just too small. which kind of worked out in a way because they really couldn't try to ding the book. But this is the book that I got. And this is Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horror. It's so yeah, I think it's a Groening cover. I thought it was done by Bill Morrison, but yeah, but I think he did the back. Let me just show you. It's like one of those ones where it's like a two cover book, like, you know, front and back are kind of two separate. So we got the front, which is this kind of cool, you know, Homer kind of being like sleeping in the coffin, and what's his name? Burns being the vampire. And then we got on the back, this is an homage to Jack Davis's, what is it? Vault of Horror. I believe it's Vault of Horror. So yeah, it's sort of a classic cover where he's throwing the knives or throwing the axes at the girl. I actually have it somewhere, but I have to find it. But it's just a classic Jack Davis cover. And do they even mention that it's a Jack Davis cover? Nope. But it is a Jack Davis cover homage. Just a really great one. So this is the reason I really wanted this book, because it's one of my favorite pre-code horror covers. Is this, and I like the homages. So this is a little bit of that. But yeah, this is just a really cool book. These are really quite expensive, actually. These books go for anywhere from $50 to $100, which is crazy if you think about it. But just a really, you know, great covers that they had on these Simpsons comics. One sec here, I'm gonna try to get back into the bag without doing a tape pull. Let's see if I can do it without doing a tape pull. Live tape pulls. Okay, so I got it back into the bag, and I can show it again. But I always love this cover. So kind of the reason why I got this book. So that was the bonus unboxing, random unboxing of just something that came in today. Yeah, so they really do. A lot of the one, like, so what happened with the Treehouse of Horror series was the early ones, you know, you can pretty much get those pretty easily. But the later issues of the run that had really great covers, just really cool covers, really didn't have big print runs, maybe 5,000 to 10,000 print runs, really low print runs for what they are. So just hard to get. And yeah, I figured you meant didn't. I figured I do the same thing sometimes. I put the positive instead of the negative. So yeah, so really just hard to get. By the way, did you notice that I didn't win the giveaway? Yes, I did notice that you didn't win the giveaway. And I actually already sent the giveaway out. So I sent that yesterday or the day before. I just sent out the giveaway to Vinny, who won. So yeah, so some guy, I didn't know he was a new subscriber and he wins the giveaway. That's the best way as a new subscriber to win a giveaway. The next giveaway will be at 5,000, and actually I'm planning to do a pretty big Golden Age book for the 5,000 giveaway. So you got to stay tuned for that. I have a pretty big plan for the 5,000 subscriber giveaway, but you know, that's several years out at this point, at the way my channel grows. But that is the plan. I'm going to do a big giveaway for 5,000. So definitely, you know, make sure you enter in for that one when it comes up. So next thing I wanted to show just quickly is my plan for something I wanted to do on Instagram. I need to see more Green Hornet Golden Age here. I'd like to see more Green Hornet Golden Age in my collection, actually. There's one book that I've been trying to get from Green Hornet for the longest time, and actually Automatic Comics beat me out on it once. I was like, so there's a book, I forget what number it is, actually. It's Green Hornet, and basically there's this girl and she's tied to a bomb on the cover, And some guy on Instagram had a claim sale, and they showed that book. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've been looking for that book. So I typed out, yes, 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 I want to put an offer in. And Automatic Comics just beat me to it. It's just like he posted his, so Ryan, he posted out his response before I could. It's like, oh man, I lost out. So I missed out on that book. So yeah, just, you know, I forgot what issue number that is, but it's just, there was a really cool Green Hornet one, Good Girl Green Hornet cover. So yeah, it's one that I've been trying to get. I agree. And more Golden Age Blue Beetle. I actually been trying to get some of the, there's like a run on Blue Beetle that also has a lot of good girl art that I really like. And every time I try to bid on those, I always seem to lose out. I have a few, you know, from Blue Beetle. Do I have it behind me? No, I don't have it behind me. But I have some of the bigger keys of the Blue Beetle run, like the famous Jack Kamen cover for Blue Beetle. So yeah, oops. And one sec here. No matter what comic book store or convention, I never see anything Green Hornet related. Yeah, it's actually quite hard. I think the reason being, Green Hornet is not necessarily as popular as some of the other titles from the Golden Age, and just not a very popular character currently. I mean, he was very popular like many years ago, just currently not as popular. So I think a lot of dealers that probably actually even have Green Hornet stuff, they just don't bring it to the market because they just don't think there will be a demand for it. But there's some really cool stuff from the Golden Age with Green Hornet. And it's just, to me, it's under the radar. It's actually something that I've been specking on, but I just have zero luck at getting any of the Green Hornet stuff. You know, I think it's one of those things where it's priced a bit low, and it's always a good time to buy. Yeah, so I was going to say, yeah, bummer. Yeah, so Ryan and I, we're often competing. We compete on heritage auctions. We compete on these claim sales. He's got bigger pockets than I do, actually. Because he does sell the books. So, you know, he buys to sell, you know, and he buys and he sells to buy. So, you know, he kind of works out things where he can kind of afford the bigger books. I don't really have the pockets because I'm not selling my collection at any point. So I can't really, you know, justify the big budgets that he can. So, you know, he can often beat me on a lot of these things. Yeah, I picked up a bunch of stuff recently at the con. You know, with little, you know, you asked me about Little Dot earlier. I picked up a whole bunch of Little Dots. Still trying to pick up a Little Dot number 2. But yeah, yes, Green Hornet number 18, I think is the one that I was talking about. So that's the one I was talking about. I've been really into romance lately. Yeah, if you look at a lot of the stuff that I'm posting up on Instagram, you'll notice that I'm really into romance too. I just posted out a romance cover by Matt Baker just today from St. John's. You know, Matt Baker is one of my favorite artists. I mentioned that in Wednesday's video, like where I say my top 3 are like Alex Schomburg, Matt Baker, and LB Cole. Those are my 3 biggest favorite artists from the Golden Age. And Matt Baker was kind of the king of the romance books in terms of doing great covers for them. And so I've been collecting a lot of that stuff. There's I have actually a whole long box devoted to romance books, where I've been really getting into it because there's some really great covers. And it's one of those things where romance has been overlooked for so long. And even though, like, you know, you see these great covers, then you say, oh, well, why is this book like $50 and this other one is 5,000? Like, it just like literally, you know, one book people know about and the other people don't know about. and they're of the same quality, or if even the $50 book might even be a cooler cover, and it's just people just don't know about it. There's just a lot of stuff that isn't known, and if you're this lucky kind of hunter, you can find some really great good girl romance covers that are really scarce. Like, I mean, really, really hard to find. So that, you're not going to get the situation where 1,000 copies of them come up to the market after, you find one. Those books, you can get them for really cheap, and they turn out to be like books that will become grails later on once you show them to the world. So I find there's a real opportunity there. One sec here. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm way behind on the comments. Okay, let me get to this comment. I'm currently looking for Green Hornet #1, Gold Key #1. I don't care much for Hornet, but Bruce freaking Lee on the cover. I just got a Slab Dark Shadows #1 and a Wild Wild West #1. Yeah, so I have, do I have it handy? I actually have the Bruce Lee one. Maybe. Let me just pull it out. I think it's in this box. We'll see if I'm right. One sec here. Just bear with me. No. Okay. I would have thought it was in that box, but I do have it. I actually have that Green Hornet, and it's a cool book because it is, it's the first Bruce Lee cover, so it's a pretty cool book. I'll look for it for you. And it's also the first Silver Age. That's what I was going to say. It's the first Silver Age Green Hornet as well. So double key. It's like most people that buy it, though, are usually Bruce Lee fans. Like, they will buy it not because of Green Hornet. Who cares about Green Hornet? But because it is Bruce Lee's first cover appearance. And Bruce Lee, the fandom for Bruce Lee is insane. He's like, but he's a great, he's one of my favorite martial artists. It's not an expensive book, though. Strangely enough, you can pick it up $50. Nothing. And it's not like breaking the bank kind of level of books. Is a book that you can pick up fairly inexpensively. Okay, wait. Yeah, I agree. Romance and Westerns have been neglected for far too long. So Westerns, I don't know. I think Westerns are one of those ones where you have to have like a huge shift in what's considered popular culture, where, maybe some great Western movie comes out and all of a sudden Hollywood says, oh, we got to do Westerns again. And then there would be a shift, and then people would maybe start getting into Westerns. But right now, nobody's interested in Westerns. There's just no, culture around Westerns anymore. It's not as popular as it used to be. That could change, though. It could change. And you're right. They're way undervalued. You can, like, I was picking up high-grade Westerns that are extremely rare for cheap. It's crazy. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you have the first appearance of Robin yet? I can't wait to see it. So I have 2 more payments to make on that book. I'll make it at the end of October. It's the second of the 2 payments. So there's a payment at the end of this month that I'm making, and then there's a payment at the end of next month that I'm paying, and then it will be a book that I'll have in my collection. Actually, I'll be doing a special. I might even do it live unboxing when I get that book. But that book is not by itself. I'm actually getting that book plus 11 other cool Golden Age books in the same collection. They're not as big as the Robin book, but they're big. They're big books as well. They're like, you'd say middle range keys, kind of like mid-range keys, like pretty expensive, like 500 plus kind of level books. So yeah. Thank you for just subscribing. the more just subscribers I get, the better. I'm always trying to build this channel. Okay. Oh, I'm not trying to flex on you guys. That's not my point. That's not like it's what I'm saying is it's not an expensive book, the Bruce Lee one, and the Batman one, where I get the first Robin. That's a big book. That is a seriously big book, but it is one that I paid and like I really had to put aside money for it and make out an arrangement with the seller so that I could, make installments and over a long period of time. Like it was not like here's like $16,000. I don't just have that much money. It was a big purchase, but it was one where I planned it out. And that's really how you can buy these big books, is if you plan them out and kind of like, make the sacrifices, eat more ramyun and less steak, and do things to kind of, make the budget there. You can get those big books. And that's my point. Like, the fortunate thing with the Batman one, the Detective 38, it was a situation where I knew the seller and we're friends. So I could kind of go leverage that friendship to get a good deal and also get a good installment plan. He was a bit more patient with me. I care about the Green Hornet, lol. Okay. Being that Bruce Lee is on the cover, the book would appeal to more than just comic collectors. Yeah, that's what I was really trying to say. Hi, Casino Comics. Has Kato been betrayed as a kid sidekick, or is he just the Green Hornet's chauffeur? He's always been the sidekick. Sort of like he's both. He's the chauffeur, but he's also like the sidekick. In the 60s show, he was always the guy that did all the action. And then, the Green Hornet would kind of like get the credit. But it was, it was kind of one of those humorous things. Yeah, an affordable book indeed. Yes, Green Hornet 1, just really under the radar in terms of cool books. When I unboxed it, I was saying, hey, I couldn't believe how cheap this book was. I just really think it's really undervalued for what it is. It's just such a cool book. And it's one that, as I said, it's not hard to pick up, and it's not hard to pick up for $50. I think I paid $30 for mine. So it wasn't even like, I'm saying it's really affordable book. I think 50s war books are underrated. You can pick a lot of war comics up for 10 to $20. That's true. So the big three genres that were kind of under the radar or overlooked would be war, romance, and westerns, but also somewhat crime, like a lot of affordable crime books as well. So that's another genre that's kind of there. Now, within all of those ones, there are books that have broken through. And, you can find, like, for example, like Fazetta's run on Tim Holt, very expensive, which is a Western. Romance books, anything like teenage love stories, or teenage romances, I should say, from Matt Baker, really expensive, like a couple $100 per point. So there's a lot of books that have kind of broken through that genre, being kind of lame kind of thing, like where the war books are like a little bit lame right now, the westerns are a little bit lame right now, but there's some that have broken through that barrier and have really become expensive. But to me, that's a really great buying opportunity, because there's other books that are kind of under the radar. Like the one that I posted on Instagram today, I picked it up so cheap. Like, it's just like really cheap book, but it's a cool cover. It kind of looks like Canteen Kate a little bit, and it's just a cool cover. Check it out on my Instagram today. I posted it out. It's just Comic Collector Geek on Instagram. And you can see like the kind of cover it is. It's just like a really cool Good Girl art cover. And it's a Matt Baker. But because it's not the book from the run, or the one that people recognize, it's under that radar. And it's kind of funny how certain books just haven't popped yet. And even though it's like, how long has the golden age been over for? About 80 years. And yet these books, 70, 80 years, and yet these books are still being discovered. It's kind of funny to me. John Severin on Silver Age Westerns. Yes, please. Oh, I don't have many of those, actually. I don't really have that much Westerns in my collection. What is the Green Hornet's Kato's first appearance in a comic book? I have no idea. I think it would be Green Hornet #1, which is the first appearance of the Green Hornet. I think his sidekick also made a first appearance at that time. But I'm not sure. I actually tried to buy that book. I actually had it in my shopping cart. And then somebody checked it out before I did. So I was like, oh, that's really nice. I had it in my cart. I just didn't get it in time. Totally agree. Movies don't do well either. Okay, probably about Westerns. I recently got into romance. My wife, though, not so much. That's a cute one. I wish I could make the same comment about my wife, especially maybe because of the comics. Something about comics makes wives less romantic. So romance books are really great, though. Very undervalued, in my opinion. I got to be honest. I know Green Hornet via Bruce. That's okay. Do you think that they should make a Green Hornet, Green Arrow crossover comic? Also, Kato can meet Speedy. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm not sure how that would work, but it would be interesting. I think Green Hornet is like one of those ones that's in the public domain now, where I've seen other publishers, kind of random publishers, producing Green Hornet stuff. The problem with the Green Arrow is it's a DC property. And so there's like one of those things where it'd be hard to cross over. But it'd be a really interesting one. Very different characters. So both green, but very different kind of characters. I was just messing around with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable and put you in the spot. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm used to people making fun of me, so it's okay. That's my whole life. I was shocked when you stated how cheap some of the Vampirella books go for. I'm now actively looking for them. Yeah. So, like, when I was picking up my Vampirella collection, I have the whole run of Vampirella, and I'm not saying that to brag. Oh, I'm not. This is not me flexing. So go back to the other point. I'm not flexing when I say that. When I picked them up, nobody cared about them. Everybody hated Vampirella in terms of the magazines. Nobody cared about magazines. Oh, it's not a comic. It's junk. And people treated them like that. So I was picking them up anywhere from $1, and if it was a really nice copy, $4 per issue. So I was picking up I picked up the whole entire run that way. There was a couple books that were a little bit more expensive, like Vampirella #1. I had to pay $20. So that was like, it was a bit more of a purchase. But, and #3 actually was a big purchase. I think I paid over $100 for #3 because that's a harder book to find than #1. But the rest were really cheap. They're really, really cheap. Maybe like max on the other ones was like $20. But the prices really haven't gone up too much in the time that I was buying, which is back in the 90s till now. You can still pick up most of the books, unless they're slabbed and stuff, then it kind of goes a little higher. But most of the books raw, you can pick up for anywhere from $20 to $50. Very affordable run of comics, and just really great stuff in the War and Vampirella comics, magazines, I should say. And part of the reason, and this is one of the good but bad things about Warren Publishing, is a lot of the stuff survived. unlike other publishers, what would happen is, like, if you had returns, or if you had books that didn't sell, what would happen is you would either destroy them, like where you'd make them into remainder copies and then send them back. Then the publisher would probably burn them or do something with them, recycle the paper or something like that. Well, Warren, actually, what it did is it had a very strong back order or back issue department within Warren Publishing. So what it would do is warehouse everything. So a lot of the books survived, and actually survived in reasonably good condition because it was warehoused. Whatever didn't sell was warehoused. So it's kind of the reason why a lot of these books for Vampirella are, or Creepy or Eerie or whatever from Warren, are actually fairly affordable because a lot of it was warehoused. And in the early 80s, around 1983, I believe, or 84, somewhere around there, they actually had a massive warehouse sale where you could buy, I want to buy that lot, which is just like a big crate of magazines. You could buy it like for dirt cheap. So it kind of killed the prices of a lot of the books. So just a little bit of history there. It's still more about the Green Hornet. Okay. Green Hornet #1, published by, yes, that's the one I was referring to. I actually had that one in my shopping cart. It actually has a kind of a cool cover. So yeah, it's that Green Hornet #1 from 1940. That was the one I was saying, was the first appearance of Kato and first appearance of Green Hornet, I believe. I buy all the war comics with Russ Heath's cover. Yeah, so remember I was talking about exceptions to the rule in terms of romance, war, westerns. Well, Russ Heath, his covers actually do command big money. There's just a lot of, like, they're pretty great in terms of the level of artwork. So they generally command fairly big money. Again, it's really finding the Russ Heath covers that people just didn't know about. That's when you can kind of find a great gem within the war covers. So it's one of those things where a lot of those ones have been kind of found, and there's some pretty big books there. Is Cold War comics worth collecting? So yeah, so here's something, it's funny when the Golden Age market is affected by modern times. And one of the funny things with the modern times is the movie Oppenheimer did really, really well. And that has inspired a lot of people to get into these atomic bomb covers. And I always associate the atomic bomb with the Cold War. The reason we had a Cold War historically is because of the atomic bomb. It would have been a hot war where we were actually fighting with the Soviets if it wasn't for the fact that everyone was paranoid that there was a nuclear bomb that was about to go off somewhere, or nuclear war. That fear caused the Cold War, where no country was dumb enough, at least fortunately dumb enough, to start a war where it could end in a nuclear war. So those Cold War comics are actually very sought after because of movies like Oppenheimer. But also, there always has been a group of collectors that like the propaganda covers. What's the Harvest one? There's like some Red is the Harvest or something like that. That book is insanely expensive. And that's a Cold War, anti-communist, anti-Soviet Union comic. And there's a lot of these kind of like, Is It Tomorrow? Is This Tomorrow? Is a book that I showed on my last top 10 list. And it was a book that has had a new record just because people like those propaganda covers, or those really cool like anti-communist covers. So there are a huge number of collectors for that stuff. So yeah, definitely worth collecting. Oh, I missed the Green Llama. Yes, another one that is another superhero that was sort of popular in the Golden Age, but kind of fell out of out of like comic viewers' interests. Green Llama you can pick up fairly inexpensively. I was trying to pick up his first appearance and issue #1, actually, strangely, but I never seem to be able to get those. One sec here. I'm way behind on the comments here. Okay, let me just quickly get up to everyone's comments. Hi, Pop Comics. Tomorrow, I'm giving you a shout out, by the way, just so you know. You are being shouted out tomorrow. So watch tomorrow's video, Pop. I shout you out, and I'm asking you to help me out with something. So yeah, check out tomorrow's video for Pop. Where are you picking up for $1 in the late 90s? Comics in general, no one wanted then. Okay, so yeah, so back, I was living in Nova Scotia at the time, and really magazines were treated very poorly in terms of the way comic collectors saw them. It was like kind of like the way people treat Westerns or things like that we're just discussing. And I was just picking up from my local comic book store. They had a huge number of these Warren publishing magazines, and they treated them like trash. They did, like, they didn't treat them poorly in terms of how they stored them, but they just didn't see the value in them. And that was not just in that one location. I had actually went to some conventions elsewhere, and nobody had much respect in the early 90s for magazines. They weren't considered cool anymore. So yeah. Do you have the first appearance of the Green Arrow? No, I do not. The first appearance of the Green Arrow is also the first appearance of Aquaman, which is More Fun Comics. I believe it's 73. It's a very expensive book. I've been trying to get that book. Actually, I bid on it a couple times, but always lose. It's like just too expensive for me. Very cool book, though. Vampirella magazine or comic? I'm actually referring to Vampirella magazines. There was a publisher called Warren Publishing, and they would produce these magazine format books. They were famous for Famous Monsters, but also for Vampirella, Creepy, Eerie, 1984, and a bunch of other titles. And these magazines were really cool. They were just, they had really great like Fazetta art covers, or a whole bunch of really great artists like Pepe Gonzalez, a whole bunch of great artists. Archie Goodwin, just a bunch of people were involved that were really great, that did these amazing covers, and the interiors had kind of campy, fun stories. So I really enjoyed the Vampirella magazine. So I collected the whole series. There's 112 in the series, and there was 113th that was created by Harris Comics later on. So those are the Vampirella magazine collections. There was also a separate series that was created by Harris with Vampirella magazine, where they try to bring it back as a separate thing, but it didn't really go anywhere. People like the comic book format. Okay, so I forgot about the Green Llama and Green Lantern and Hal Jordan version. Thanks, Ragman. Yeah, so there's like so many green characters. We should almost do a video about green characters in comics. One sec here. Good to know. I wouldn't want to be too hard to find those Vampirella books in good shape. I will be checking my local comic book stores for them this weekend. Yeah, you'll be surprised. Actually, the best place to pick up Vampirella magazines or anything Warren related is New York, where Pop is, actually. Pop Comics, he probably sees them all the time. Because when I was in New York, I spent about a month in New York, and I was just like finding cool comics. I was like, spending time just searching for Warren related books. There was just a huge amount of stuff. It's always like whenever I went into stores, you go into like a bookstore, like a random bookstore, or even a comic book store, they'll always have the magazines sort of in the back, and they're back there somewhere. Nobody really respects magazines. So they'd always have them in the back. and you just sort of ask for them, and they'll say, "Oh, they're over there." And you can find some really great stuff just really, really cheaply. I wish I had more money back then when I was searching in New York, but there was just so much stuff. It was pretty cool actually. Okay, good. I'm glad you'll watch for the shout out. I basically I'm doing like Friday comic book challenge, and I kind of want to get other people to participate. For some reason, nobody's participating well, actually, that's not true. I have about 10 channels participating in my weekly challenges. I was trying to encourage more community involvement in my comic book challenges, that's all. So I gave a couple shout outs, and you were one of the channels that I was thinking of to shout out. So I shouted you out. I think More Fun Comics number 73 is hard to find. It's the first appearance of Green Arrow and Speedy. I think Aquaman also. Yes, that's what I was saying. Those three major characters all in one book. And it's just utterly expensive because of that. It's like a really hard book. The More Fun comics, they're quite rare in general, like any of the run. And just to have it with those three major appearances in it, it's really hard to get and really expensive. I think it's like $2,000 or $3,000 a point kind of level. Maybe more. Sorry. Hi, Biggie. Actually, I give a shout out too. So you're another person I shout out tomorrow. I shout out 5 channels tomorrow. So I shout out your channel too, Biggie. So watch tomorrow's video and you get a shout out. All right. What's up, geeks? Hi, Night Tiger. So yeah, I'm actually saving your shout out for later. I'm going to be shouting you out as well in a future video. Oh, you're welcome, Biggie. I wanted to comment, but I didn't. I watched your it was a YouTube short that you did. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was really cute where you was kind of dressed up. I thought that was really cool. So watch Biggie's channel. He does good stuff. Okay, and Ozzy the Comic Collector. I have the reprint of More Fun Comics number 73. It's the best I could do, the best I could afford. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even have the reprints, so you're better than me on that one. Yeah, it's just a brutal book to find. Like, there are so many keys in the More Fun run that people just, and it's one of those runs where it's really under the radar, really undervalued in a lot of ways. And yet, they're really expensive within the few people that do collect them. Just incredibly expensive books. I actually, some of them, maybe I was wrong about More Fun. I think it's actually more like $10,000 a point kind of level. It is like a really crazy expensive book. Yeah, just really expensive. It's one of the top golden age books actually in terms of superhero stuff. But it's one that I've always wanted to get. It's one that I've tried multiple times to get. What I'm actually hoping to do is, and I love restored books generally. I actually like when a book is restored because I'm like, oh wow, I can get it cheaply. That's what I'm kind of hoping, that I'll find a More Fun comic that is restored and get it for a cheaper price for that book, because often, like, a lot of these golden age collectors are a bit snobby, and they will really undervalue the restored books. So I'll just be like, okay, I'll pick it up because I think it's a great investment still. I actually saw coverless copies going for cheaper than a high grade restored book. It doesn't make any sense. And I see that as a buying opportunity because the market will shift. It will understand that restored books are affordable, are a good investment. It's just, it's silly how people work. Yeah. Do you ever want to tease, what the Friday challenge is going to be? Yeah, actually, I'll tell you what the Friday challenge is going to be. It's going to be 90s. one of the things that I've been trying to do is popularize like the different ages for comics. So you got the Platinum Age, which is up till 1938, you know, Action Comics 1. Then you got the Golden Age, you know, which everyone knows. So it's Platinum, then Golden, then Silver, and then you get Bronze, then Copper, and then you get the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Yeah, you get all these different eras, but it's all just considered modern comics. Well, I want to kind of break those up a bit, and I want to call the 90s the plastic age, because each age becomes a little less valuable in terms of the material. And I just think plastic kind of is a good representation for the 90s books. They were massively printed. They had very gimmicky covers, very plasticky, like foily kind of stuff going on. So I just think it's a really great age. So tomorrow's video is all about the plastic age. And the books that I show are not typical plastic age comics, actually. They are books that are just big books from the 90s. So it should be a fun video anyways, regardless if you like like 90s books or not. See, everyone says that, the foil age. I don't like that term because it really doesn't represent the whole age. There's a lot more to it than just the foils. So that's why I prefer looking at the material and saying, okay, it's plastic. You know, that's why. Okay, so yeah. One sec here. Do you have the first appearance of Captain America and kid sidekick Bucky? No, I do not. That's Captain America #1, and that's a very expensive book. And like I know it looks like I have like a lot of really crazy expensive books, but I don't have every crazy expensive book. There's a lot of ones that I don't have, and that would be one of them that I'd love to own, but I do not have it. It's also a great Punching Hitler cover. I just think it's kind of fun. Oh, wait, I just saw somebody. Oh, hey, K-Pop. Nice of you to hang out with me. By the way, K-Pop, you always join my live streams, and it's always great that you kind of hang out here. But you know that you're blocking me on Instagram? You gotta unblock me on Instagram. I've been trying to like send you a message. But yeah, so just so you know, I'm just saying you got me blocked for some reason on Instagram. So check that out. But it's good to see you here. Age of Pooches? What? See, that's what I always say. Muscles on muscles. That's a very 90s thing. Muscles on muscles. Like, you know, that's one of the things I really loved about the 90s books is when they would draw like a character. I think they would just make up new muscles that don't actually exist. They would just and you see these buffed up, like just crazily puffed up people. So yeah. Yeah, so that's what I said too. I actually referred to the 2000s as the digital age as well. I actually did a video where I explained what I think should have been the different ages. So the 90s, plastic, 2000s, digital. And the reason I called it the digital age actually was, if you look at the books from the 2000s, all of a sudden they were saying, oh, you can read this book online. You get your digital copy when you buy the physical copy. And that was a whole shift within the comic market. So yeah, so that's another thing I was referring to. Actually, I was trying to coin that as well, the digital age, which is one less valuable thing than, it's another material. It's, you know, it's ether, but it's a material where it's even less valuable, like digital. So yeah. Yeah, you blocked me. It's funny. I don't know why you blocked me. I don't know. I can't send you messages. It won't let me send you messages. So I don't know. Maybe it thinks I'm stalking you or something. But yeah, I'd like to just I was trying to send you a message so I could do an interview with you, or you know, hook up with some of the people that you interviewed. K-Pop is a great channel. Check out her channel. She does amazing interviews. And I was actually trying to promote you, and I was like, I can't actually reach you to promote you. So yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm a fan of Namor the Submariner, and Motion Picture Funnies Weekly is hard to find. Well, motion picture funnies, I think there's only like 4 or 5 copies known to exist. And I've seen one. I've held one in my hands. I did an interview with Stray Flexing, if you check out my channel for that, where I show that book. Yeah, that's a book that I'd love to have. That's a really great one. I'll probably never get it because it's one of those books that is just insanely hard to get. And I'm a big fan of the Submariner too. There's a bunch of really great covers. I'm a bit of a cover collector. And I really enjoy some of the Submariner covers. Okay. If you want the first appearance of Spider-Man Miles Morales, should I get it now or wait? I would wait. You know, right now there is a bit of a lull with that book. So, okay, so here's Miles Morales, like way off topic from Golden Age now. Okay, so I just got your tests, K-pop, just so you know. So that's good. And I'll write you back after the stream. But with Miles Morales, it's basically, here's the situation. Right now, we're in between 2 movies with Miles Morales. We're into the Across the Spider-Verse, and then whatever the next one's going to be called. I'm not sure what it is. That next one is kind of being held back by the writer's strike. So that is, in a way, a good thing for people that want to pick up the book a little bit cheaper. So there is a bit of a lull right now for the Miles Morales book. So you can pick it up slightly cheaper. No, I wouldn't say super cheaper than what you might be able to get it after the second movie is done for about 6 months. So once the second movie for Miles Morales is done and, you know, it's 6 months out, people are kind of forgetting about it, the Miles Morales book will take a second dip, another dip. So right now it's a little bit cheaper, but maybe you can even get it more cheaper if you wait like a year. Or actually, it depends on how much this movie is going to get delayed with all the stuff. I think it's been almost filmed completely, so I'm not sure what the situation is with that book, with that movie. But my point is, if the movie is once the movie is done, it will go down. There are so many copies of the Miles Morales book that, in a way, it's one of those situations where it is a little bit overvalued based on just the sheer number of them that are available. So it's an easy one to get. Yeah, so I disagree that, you know, I would buy it now because I think it's a buyer's market right now. Yeah, so there's another thing into play there, Merton. Right now, it is a buyer's market. And you think, oh, wow, it's a really great time to buy comics. I looked at the trends. You know, if you look at, like, if you watch my videos on Mondays and on Sundays, I look at the Golden Age and the Silver Age trends. And really what I'm talking now is I'm talking about the Silver Age trends, because the Silver Age, like Bronze Age and the Copper Age and modern books, all went through the COVID spike, okay? So we got this massive spike, and now we're like at this point where it's boom, it's gone down. It's just been annihilated, right? However, if you look at the overall trend lines, you'll see that it's like this, and there's just this weird little spike. So it's actually a rising curve overall, like a rising line overall. Any books that didn't sell during COVID actually kind of have like almost a flat line. It's just that there was this COVID bump. You can ignore it and just look at the overall trend line, and it's books have consistently gone up. But what I think will happen is there is a bit of a buyer's market going on right now, where we have this kind of hype. But things within the US economy, within the world economy, have not quite yet gotten as bad as they can. And I do believe that things are going to get worse. And when you get a situation where things get worse, people look for quick things that they can leverage to sell to get money fast. And what will happen is comic books will be a luxury that people will just try to sell and get rid of really quickly. And when you have modern books like Miles Morales, that there's a lot of inventory out there that's just being held by collectors. Well, if any of that just kind of floods the market, all of a sudden that price will drop. And I'm thinking that that can happen, especially after the movie. So that's really why I said there's a bit of a lull right now on that book. I think there will be a second lull later, as I said, 6 months out after the second movie drops. So that's why I said my opinion on it. And I still think the economy has more to go down. The 90s draw women very sexy, but kind of weird body proportions. Yeah, like I'm a big fan of J. Scott Campbell and what's his name? Lee, Jim Lee. And there's a bunch of 90s books where the girls have these insanely long legs, just really long legs, and very tiny bodies. But women historically in comics have always been drawn very disproportionately. It's kind of the charm of comics in a way. It's kind of like anime. We like our women to be like crazy, disproportionately either endowed or like small waists or whatever crazy thing. But the 90s were the hypersexualized women. And that was kind of the charm, in my opinion, of the 90s. I actually liked that part of the 90s. I was really into the bad girls. I liked Lady Death. I liked Vampirella. I liked Lady Rawhide. I liked She. I liked a lot of those bad girls from the plastic age of the 90s. And, that was kind of the charm. So, yeah, totally agree. So one more thing I wanted to get into before I get totally distracted and this stream goes on for 6 hours or something. I want to show you what I was planning on doing on Instagram, and I want to get your opinion on it before I actually post it up on Instagram. Hey, who dat? Hey, it's good to see you in here. If you guys haven't checked out, I did a great interview with Hudat, so check that out. So what I wanted to do was on Instagram, I was thinking of posting out 2 pictures right next to each other and with a caption saying, who did it better? Okay, and I'll give you an example. So we got Planet Comics, okay, and then Planet Stories. And it's the same cover, actually, but, 2 different versions of the same cover, okay? Not necessarily an homage. This is actually a bit of a cover redo, I guess. So yeah, just a kind of a cool one. And basically I wanted to say who did it better? Which version of the same cover really do you like better? Okay, so that's one example. And some of them are going to be homages. We got this one. We got Pep Comics. And this is the classic one. Oh, sorry, this one. I'm looking at backwards. We got the classic one where we got, it's really great Good Girl art cover. But, Archie, how did you come to fall in? I didn't come to fall in. I came to skate. It's kind of a cool cover. And then we got this one, which is Hack and Slash's homage to it. And it's like, Tabor, you're covered in semen. These innuendo jokes have gotten out of control. It's a cute cover. Okay, so which one do you like better is the question. Okay, and I was thinking of posting it sort of like this on Instagram, where I show the 2 covers and ask the question, which one do you like better, or who did it better? It's sort of like, like whenever they show like the runway or the red carpet events, and you have the 2 girls and they wear the same dress, and you say who wore it better. Well, that's really the point of this one. So here's another example. We got Strange Mysteries, which is an homage to this one. Mysteries Stories. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see that, but they're homages of it. They're the same cover, basically, slightly different. and who did it better. So for me, actually, I like this one better, personally. I like the girl. She's in a red dress, which is appropriate. And yeah, I just think it's kind of cool. I like the painted covers a bit more too. So that's kind of where I was going with that one. Okay. And then last example of what I was thinking of doing, because I have a whole bunch of examples, but this is the last one, is these two. Who did it better? This is Adam Hughes, and then this is Matt Baker. So who did it better? It's this is Adam Hughes's homage to Matt Baker, but just two great covers. I really like both. Yeah, just two books that I really like. So those are that's what I was thinking of posting out and then getting people's opinion on it. I would guess so, yes. Easily, yes. Yes, who dat? You're right. Totally, I agree. Totally agree. I just really like the way she just if you look at this one just quickly, just to give you a comparison and why I would say this one I just totally say is way better. The way her hair is done is insane. It just has a life to it. It's sort of like what made Todd McFarlane was when he started doing Spider-Man, and the webs that Spider-Man would shoot out had a life to them. Or the Batman's cape when he did it on the Batman cover that everybody loves. Well, it has a life to it. Well, her hair has a life to it, and that's what Matt Baker brings to the cover. Also, her boobs have a life to them. It's a headlight cover. It's just a very sexy cover. Now, if you look at the Adam Hughes one in comparison, I'll take it out because it doesn't really show that well inside the plastic here. If you take a look, her boobs not as kind of sexy. Her hair's a little bit lifeless, actually. You know, I love Adam Hughes, and I think he's a great artist, but it's just, you know, there's that little bit of detail that Matt Baker brings to the table that gives it so much more coolness, in my opinion. The hair's more alive, the girl's sexier, just more outstanding. Okay, just it's just not even comparable. So Matt Baker definitely kills it. He wins that by a landslide, in my opinion. Both are great. I love both covers. I just think that the Matt Baker one is just that. It's almost like, you know, you see somebody and you think, oh, they're the best, and then you see somebody that is just that next level. It just a new level. And that's really what's happening with those two books. You know, you think, oh, I reached the top, and then nope, there's another level. Yes, it is a 90s reprint. It's from 1994. Yeah, I dig the vintage style more too. I mean, I'm a Golden Age collector, so of course I'm going to be biased towards the Golden Age. Something about it, there's some weird charm to me for the Golden Age. I just love the looks of, you know, the way the style is. It's just different. There's a classic style, and it's what it is. I just really love. Do them as polls on IG and YouTube community. I will do that. I will definitely do that. That's a very good point. I will definitely do that. So I take your advice on that one, 22. Yeah, kind of flat, but a lovely piece. That's my point. It's a little bit flatter. It's a little bit less dynamic than the Matt Baker. The Matt Baker cover of Phantom Lady has more detail and looks better, but they're both nice. Yeah, that's the way I see it. So yeah, so I don't know. So that's something I'm working on. I'm really into collecting homage covers. Like, I have literally two long boxes filled with homage covers. That's how much I love collecting homages. And like, there's a homage that I have like I think I have like almost 20 different homages for one comic in particular. I just like have so many homages to it. There's certain ones that I just love getting the homages to. Suspense Comics 22. I just love getting any homage to that cover, and I just have so many of them. It's like crazy. So yeah, so I always like to ask that question: which do you prefer? And you know, the funny thing is, I like the reason I wanted to ask this was not just to say, oh, I love Golden Age better and Golden Age is better, but what I've noticed, and this is the weirdest thing, and it's sort of a comment about collectors in general, is a lot of collectors don't realize how great the Golden Age is, or how affordable the Golden Age is in a way. There's some really great stuff being produced nowadays, and it's usually done as Kickstarters or stuff, something like that, where there's comics where they are really sexy covers, just like really fun, sexy covers, and they right out of the gate, because they are fun and sexy, they go for $60 to $100. You know, that's right out of the gate. That's how much they go for. And I'm thinking, wow, that same amount of money, you could buy a really great Golden Age Good Girl art cover. You're not going to get a high grade copy, obviously, but you'd get a nice presenting, maybe a 3.0 kind of level book. And a lot of them have just more detail, more depth to them. They're not just some like silly, you know, sexy girl on the cover. So my point is, like, I kind of want to bring that to light, where I show like the modern version versus the Golden Age version, and which art style do people like? Do they really like the modern way of doing it, or can they learn that appreciation for the Golden Age? And that's really what I was trying to do. So yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. He's more dynamic in terms of the way, especially the hair. Like I can, like, you can almost recognize a Matt Baker like a million miles away just because of the hair. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to zoom in here. Look at the hair. I mean, just like it's as I said, it's kind of like the way Todd McFarlane made Spider-Man's webs. It has got a life to it. It's got so much going on there, so many details. So yeah, just it's awesome. It's just an amazing cover to me. My favorite Matt Baker cover, in my opinion, is this one. This is my favorite Matt Baker, bar none. This is my favorite Matt Baker. I was that one. I was super excited to get that in my collection. I have to show it whenever I can because I love it so much. Normally, it is I have it up there next to the Adam Hughes one because I want to see it all the time because I love it so much. It's such a great cover. But there's a lot of really great Matt Bakers. Another one that I really, really love from Matt Baker is Cinderella Love 25, a book that I'd love to own. There's another one. I forgot what the name of it is. Diary something, some love diary or something like that. It's another really great Matt Baker. There's a bunch of really great Matt Bakers. I collect Matt Bakers, so I have a ton of them. Golden Age comic book artists took more pride in their work. Most modern stuff looks horrible, and the stories and characters are just boring. I would agree on those points, but there are some really great modern artists. Like, don't get me wrong on that. Like, I do believe that there's some really great modern age stuff, and it's just what is getting promoted is not always the best. So there are some really great artists, and there's some artists that are really cutting edge. One of the problems that I would say of the Golden Age compared to the modern era is the Golden Age was much more, you're forced to produce art of a certain style. Nowadays, the artistic freedom is greater in terms of like having you can do whatever crazy style you want. Which it can be good and bad. They get a lot of junk, but you get sometimes these elements of brilliance that come out where you get some really great artists like a Dave Stevens or you know, uh, Alex Ross or somebody like that, where they do have brilliant art. You know, there's a bunch of really great modern artists. So it's more traditional style of tattoo art. It's okay. Can you sell modern age like Ultimate Fallout 4 books to get Golden Age if you're new at collecting? So yeah, I mean you can find that people will either trade or you can just sell those big books. Like that's a big book, Ultimate Fallout 4. You can get like, you know, like $1,000 or 1,500 or maybe more for that book, depending on the grade. And then you could use that money to get into Golden Age books, or you don't even need to sell that book. You can buy. There are books from the Golden Age that are very inexpensive. You know, there's a lot of like crime books with Charles Biro art that you can buy for like $20. You don't have to spend big money, and there's some really great covers within that. Okay. Why are comic books so expensive right now, 2023? Well, they aren't. There has been a price correction. There is a bit of a buyer's market going on right now. And that is a good thing, because it's where, so what ends up happening is, and this is what I saw with COVID, was that books became more and more pricey. And sometimes that brings people into the hobby because, you know, they speculate, you know, they go where the money is. And if all of a sudden the market gets overheated, which is what happened during COVID, you'll get a lot of money or people kind of coming into the hobby. Good thing. However, now that basically there was a boom bust situation, now we're in the bust. What's happened is a lot of those kind of fly by night collectors, ones that were truly not in it for the right reasons, have left. The speculators are gone, the flippers are gone, the people that don't really love the books the way we do, the true collectors, I would say, have left the hobby. They're gone. They're done. And what you have is you have a buyer's market created. And what happens is, as people kind of start buying books again and seeing like, oh, I can get these cool books for cheap, and you know, they start picking up stuff. What ends up happening is you kind of build a new collector audience and a stronger base. So even though maybe the number of people in the hobby is smaller, what you have is a stronger group of people in the hobby. And it's ultimately a good thing. So it's sort of like, I always see it as kind of a renewal of the hobby when you have these boom bust kind of periods. Just a different way of taking on it. But right now, I would say that they're not so expensive. And there's lots of buying opportunities. Okay, now they have X of the week releases and don't have time to do the detail. Yeah, there's just, you know, there's a lot of times where what they'll do, I find, with comics nowadays is they will really, and this is probably one of the things that saved the hobby in a way, because really the comic market is dying right now, because they're not really producing good comics and ones that people want to read. However, to balance out the fact that they're producing not the greatest content, they'll put really great cover artists on the onto the books. So the interior art is subpar, the interior story is subpar, but they'll put really great wraps on it so that you'll get like, oh, this looks like a really cool comic. It has a really great cover. And so you get like really great cover artists happening right now, and like variants, like I did a show. One of my questions on my Q&A thing was, you know, what comic had the most variant covers? And one of them had over 200 variants. It's just insane, the number of variants. So you have the same comic with like 200 different versions of it. And it just, you know, so the covers are great for the most part, but the interior is kind of subpar. And a lot of artists nowadays, they don't really have the volume of work that the golden age artists had. Back in the day, you had the production houses where golden age artists were ground, down basically, and they had to grind out art. And when you have that experience of grinding out art daily, that just constantly putting out art, in a way, what happens is it hones the skill. And you'll find that golden age artists are much more skillful at mimicking other people's styles and also just producing artwork at a high quality. Whereas a modern artist, they don't necessarily have that training. It's just a different levels of thing. One sec here. A lot more questions happened. Boom. Hey, Angry Otter. I love Golden Age, but there are some good covers that come out in the modern age. Halverine cover that came out is about a week ago is literally fire. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that cover. I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up after this and see what you're talking about, because I don't know the cover. Maybe it is great. I believe you. I think brand new comics are now selling for $3.99 to $4.99 per issue. Not a lot of people are buying new comics. Yeah, so that's another thing. Back in the day, comics were much more affordable for kids. Like, I remember comics being like 25 cents. I'm dating myself by saying that, but, or even under $1. That makes it very affordable, to get into collecting comics. Nowadays, when you go to a comic store, you don't see kids. You don't see kids buying comics. You see people like our ages buying comics, and that's not good for the hobby. The kids, what they're buying is buying manga. And manga is where the hobby is going. It's going into the anime stuff because the stories are better, the artwork is better. They're just cooler things. And if the big publishers don't get their head in the right space, that's going to be the way it's going to be. They're going to put themselves out of business. Okay, let me just. No doubt that there are some good modern artists, but they're not being promoted, and the poor content keeps getting pushed. It only drives away fans and discourages new fans from coming into the hobby. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's basically what I've been trying to say. Okay. Is the modern age coming up comic book art inconsistent sometimes? So you get like different levels. It can be all over the place. One of the things that you'll find is, as I said, variant covers have really kind of saved the hobby, because if you look at the comic book sales, the sales are not impressive for the most part for the modern era. We're looking at smaller runs for the most part. The only thing that's been a saving grace to the modern era is the fact that they do variant covers. So what'll happen is the publishers know that. They know that they're kind of a dying breed right now. So what they'll do is they'll actually offer independent companies the ability to republish the same book. So you'll get like the Whatnot exclusive, or the Comic Tom exclusive, or the whatever exclusive comic, where they just put their cover onto the comic book. And what happens when you do that is you get inconsistent levels of artwork on those variant covers. Some are really brilliant, some are not really great, not really great at all. But you get that kind of variation. The comic book publishers do have some say in terms of what gets put on the covers, but again, you get kind of those variant covers of different caliber. Okay, one sec here. Wolverine 36. You want to look it up? Okay, I'll look up Wolverine 36. Is that does it have a good girl cover? I know it sounds really lame to say that, but I like my girls on my covers. Okay, that's my thing. All right, let's see. I missed a whole bunch of questions here. One sec here. Same goes for the toy aisles in the stores. Kids can't buy toys and don't have the interest in them. The problem is, if you look at what drove a lot of the toy sales when we were kids or when I was a kid, was you'd have a really great movie that really spoke to the imagination of the audience. Star Wars. You know, you think, oh, wow, a galaxy, they have lightsabers, they have all these cool things. Really great, you know, appeal to the imagination. And toys are basically tools that harness the imagination. Well, when you have a movie that, you know, comes out nowadays where it's like preachy and telling you kind of like these really annoying lessons, that doesn't inspire the imagination, actually kills the creativity. Okay. And what ends up happening is kids don't really want to play with the toys. They don't have any interest. So that's the difference. You know, that can change. There are movies that could change that. It's really up to Hollywood to change their act. Modern age comic book can be inconsistent sometimes, but I like the LSV modern story. I'm not sure what that is. I like from the 90s or early 2000s, like X-Men 23 and Harley Quinn. Yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff there. I'm not saying it's all bad. Why are pop culture conventions filled with booze-selling badges, stickers, and reprinted and other people's reprinted artwork? That's a modern phenomena. People like their little things. A lot of that stuff, it's low price points and it's easy to flip, kind of easy to sell, I should say, because it doesn't require huge budgets to buy. That's why Funko Pops are so great. You know, you get a really cool little toy, $10 or $20 max, that kind of encapsulates some show you like. You know, it's what sells to kids. So yeah, the thing is, comics have kind of fallen out of that. Like, you know, when they were making good movies, comics were hot too. Okay. Nah, manga all looks the same with the same stories over and over. Definitely not better. I would disagree. I'm a big anime fan, actually. And there's some really brilliant stories. You'll notice, so here's what I would say, is you'd notice this about manga versus, like, Western versus Japanese. In Western, I don't know, the stuff that they're producing right now is so bad. I don't know what to say. But okay, let's go to Japanese first, then I'll think about the Japanese, the North American stuff. In the Japanese thing, you'll find that there are tropes that they use. And that used to be the same way in comics. You'd have like it's called comic tropes for a reason. You know, women behaved a certain way. There'd be certain types of characters. You'd have like, if you think about any anime, there's always the kind of weird sexual girl who's kind of like bizarrely, like just kind of weird. Then you have this one weird girl that's sort of like grumpy, like towards the hero. You have the character who is the girly girl, the super girly girl, and then so you have all these kind of typecast characters, okay? And then you have the guys that are the same way too, where you have the hero who's a bit of a loser, but actually has some talent and just, you know, needs to show that talent, and super smart. Intelligence is a big thing for anime, that, you know, they always kind of outthink their opponents. That's usually how they win. It's not only their skills, but it's how they know how to use their skills to kind of outwit their opponents. You know, you have all these kind of weird tropes. The thing is, and you can have that across multiple genres, which is the weirdest thing. But what happens is each one of those tropes that we see, we can relate to those people. They're relatable characters, okay? And we can see, like, there's always the bad guy in anime where you say, oh wow, he's such a jerk, he's so, but then he goes through a redeeming arc where he kind of does something that makes you kind of say, hey, even though he's a jerk, he kind of does this nice thing that you kind of respect. And what ends up happening is you kind of relate to those characters. Now, in Western stuff, what we have is women pretending to be men, men not being men, and then we have characters that don't live up to what we imagine people to behave like, and you can't relate to those characters. And that's why anime is winning right now, because we can relate to those characters, we can relate to the stories, even though it's the same characters every time. The stories are different, but they kind of mix it up that way. But the characters, we can relate to those characters, and that's what works. There's a reason why, if you look at movies going back 20, 30 years, it used to be that if you looked at the plot for every single movie that came out, this used to be the common theme for every single movie, was boy gets girl, you know, boy loses girl, boy gets girl. That was that was the plot for 99% of the movies going back in the ages, okay? And the reason that worked is we could relate to that. We could relate to the idea of a guy trying to get the girl that he wants, you know, finally getting the girl that you want and then losing them. We could relate to that, the hardship of that, and then trying to regain that girl's love. We could relate to that. And once you take all of that out, these kind of tropey kind of elements, and you subvert, you know, they really love talking about subverting the culture. Well, then people can't relate to it, and it lacks interest. So that's my rant about all that stuff. Okay, wait, now I got to get back up to all the questions. All right. Okay, definitely not good girl art. Okay. Good afternoon, Lyle. I agree with that. I'm not sure what you agreed with, but okay. The genre of manga styles differ. Yeah, yeah. There's so many genres within manga, so it's like they don't really try to appeal to everybody with every story that they do. That's another great thing about manga, is they will do stories that will appeal to very niche groups. And if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But there's always something there for whatever audience there is. Whereas North American books try to appeal to everybody. They try to, like, you know, be diverse in their representation in order to try to create mass appeal, and lack that. When you try to appeal to everybody, you end up appealing to nobody, and that's kind of one of the big problems with, like, the stuff we get nowadays. There are a lot more adult ones like sci-fi and etc. Yeah, there are. Like, I'm a big fan of anime, so I watched, like, the one that I'm watching right now is my Happy Marriage, but there's just a lot of stuff that is really great. I was a big fan of Naruto and Hunter x Hunter and a whole bunch of series. There's just, like, lots of great series. Okay. Another thing about manga and anime has over modern American comics is that the characters are likable. That's my point. The agendas being pushed in comics is certainly not helping the situation. That's kind of my point. Right now the focus is on getting mass appeal in terms of, like, having all the check marks, but then just pushing a message rather than having a great story. Like, if you could have, like, diversity and all this wonderful stuff that people want, that these publishers want, but if you're not telling a great story, then what's the point? You know, that should be the secondary thought about having diversity and having check marks. The first thing should be about telling a great story with characters that you can like. Nowadays, They're really not likable characters. Okay. Just 1 year later, 2021, comic books generated a total of $2 billion in America. Manga is making up 1.7 billion of that total. See? Kind of to my point. Okay. That means Japanese manga is not only more profitable in Japan, but it's even in America that they are selling better than American comics. Kind of my point. And it's all about telling great stories, having relatable characters. You do all that, and people will come back to the hobby. You know, I've done this interview series on my channel for the last 2 years now, like, well, a year and a half, I should say, where I talk to different collectors, and I ask them, you know, the question, when did you get into the hobby? How did you get into the hobby? And the story always is the same, like, for the most part. You know, you hear, I got into collecting in the 90s. Well, that was when the comic boom was happening, during the 90s. And then they'll say, with life and all this stuff that happened, I got out of the hobby for a little while, but I got back into it. They'll say, they always say this, I got back into it during the MCU, when the whole concept of the MCU was created. And what do you have during the MCU? You have movies like Captain America. You have movies like the Avengers, the first Avengers, Iron Man, Infinity War, all these kind of big movies that told big, great stories. And that excited people into comics. They wanted to they were excited about those characters. They related to those characters. They loved those characters. And what did they do? They wanted to find out how they could get a piece of those characters. And the way you get a piece of those characters is you buy the comics that they were created in, or you buy merchandise that's related to those characters. So, we love Tony Stark is a good example. He is a playboy. He's a billionaire. That's not why we love him. We love him because with all of his flaws, he's still a good guy. He looks out for his fellow man. He puts others before he puts himself. Ultimately, even though he's like all this like philandering kind of guy, he puts others before himself. And we can relate to that. But now you look at the modern stuff, like that sounds like a million years ago. You look at the modern stuff and you see like characters where their sole motivation is for their own good, their own benefits. And people don't relate to that. They're like, well, I don't like these characters. They're jerks. They're narcissists, and they're in it for themselves, and nobody can relate to those kind of characters. There's no appeal there. Just like what I was saying about the anime, you get the worst character. Like they could be like a total sleazeball, but then they do something where they put their own life at risk to help somebody else, or they do something where they show true friendship, and you forgive all the scumminess of that character. And that's so typical in anime. You see it over and over again. And that's what appeals to us. We want to see people going beyond themselves, not being narcissists. Like you look at the Black Panther movie. I hated the most recent Black Panther movie. And the whole motivation for the Black Panther movie was, let's protect our own interests. We don't care about anyone else. That's the whole motivation of the movie. Terrible motivation. That's not heroic. What makes a hero is them going out of the way to help somebody else. That's what makes a hero a hero. And what's happened is the movies nowadays, the content that's being created nowadays isn't about creating heroes. It's about creating these narcissistic characters that appeal to nobody. And it's a real shame. That's kind of why I think people don't like modern stuff. So yeah, that's another little rant. You're getting me to rant. I shouldn't rant so much. I'll get in trouble. I used to rant a lot on my channel, and I kind of toned it down because I was getting in trouble with the YouTube gods. So yeah, big screen comic book movies intentionally brought in new fans. Shockingly enough, these same movies that would later lead to fans leaving. Star Wars comes to mind. Yeah, Star Wars is a great example. of a series where they don't understand the material that they're working with. You get writers that don't understand, they have no sense of the legacy of Star Wars, and they have their agendas that they want to push. They don't love the characters, and they want to create girl bosses for the most part, and just no love of the content that they're creating, which is it's the weirdest thing. You get, I hate when you get one of these interviews with like some new Star Wars creator, and they say, I never read the comics, I never watched the movies, I never liked the movies. And you're like, well, why are you making Star Wars again? Like, why? I and then they'll say, oh, but I want to represent diversity and all this crazy stuff. And it's like, really, come on, like, you can do that. I mean, if you look at Star Wars, the original Star Wars, what was it? It was insanely diverse. It was it was a galaxy where all these different groups were working together, some good, some bad, and they had strong women. Like Princess Leia was a badass. Like, she just went around being sexy, but at the same time, she didn't mess around. She was cool, so it's like they don't understand what made people love the stuff in the first place, and they have no appreciation for the stuff that they're working with, and they think that they know better. That's one of the things that I actually love about the golden age versus modern. I find that there's a real attitude, and maybe it's like that I'm old man in me now. I'm becoming old or something, where, get off my lawn, or you never walked to school in your, bare feet in the winter, that kind of level. But there's sort of this idea that modern is better. What people think nowadays is better than what people thought 20 years ago or 100 years ago or whatever. And that's a very young way of thinking of things. Like, oh, you're so old, you don't know any better. You're dumb. That's kind of attitude from the younger generation, where they don't really appreciate that the older generation actually has some wisdom to them, and they know things that you don't know, young person. And what happens is you get these young people that don't respect the previous generations. And you really see that. Actually, a really great example of that is Snow White. The actress that's talking about Snow White, she's like, oh, that movie was made in the 30s. They didn't know any better. It's like they made a thing that was timeless classic. They must have known something. It's just like the arrogance and the narcissism of the modern era is just what kills the creativity and the beauty of some of these things that are classics. What works. So yeah, that's why I love Golden Age comics. That's why I collect Golden Age comics, because I can appreciate what people before me have done and contributed. Yeah, so let me just getting me to rant a lot today. I was actually trying to keep it fairly friendly. Okay, Star Wars' greatest failure was mistreating the original characters and retconning even newer stories. I agree. So that's kind of what I was babbling about as well. Golden Age comics are not hard to find if you know where to look. I've been collecting since 1968. Easier to find now today. Yeah, I was actually talking with my friend Stephen Gentner about this. There are so many Golden Age books that are coming up right now, that, like, into the market, I should say, that I hadn't seen before. And the amount of stuff that's coming up is insane compared to, like, go back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I think what's happened is when you get this kind of weird market where people are trying to, like, find ways to get some quick cash, or, they're a little bit strapped for money. What's happening is you get people that will sell off their collections. Or another big thing that's happening is the baby boomers are dying. And I don't say that in a positive way, but what I mean by that is there's a generation that were collectors back in the day, and they're now dying, and their children don't appreciate what these older people had, and they're just flooding the market with these older people's collections. And so what I'm seeing is like just like a whole bunch of really great golden age books coming to market. And what you have actually happening is a lot of these kind of inexperienced sellers that don't understand the golden age at all are either selling them for really crazy high prices or really crazy low prices. And you can pick up some books. I just picked up a book, and this was actually on my comic shop. I picked up a series. I picked up 4 books. They were $7 each. Golden Age books, 1945. Rare, super rare books, like less than 5 on the census. $7 each. The same books on eBay were selling for $200 each. And it's just that collections come up, they sell them, they don't know how much they're worth, and you get some really great deal. And I've seen it more and more often lately. And I just think it's, as I said, there's a couple things happening. You get this situation where people are trying to get money, and you have a situation where a lot of these older people with older collections are dying off, and they're bringing much more is coming to market. So it's a kind of a best of 2 worlds. If it's a good thing that people are dying, I don't think that's a good thing, but sounds really horrible to say, oh, people are dying, and therefore it's a great thing. But it's bringing more stuff to the market, is my point. I sound evil. Okay. So Golden Age comics are not hard to find if you know. Oh yeah, that's what I just answered. Let me just go to the next question. Oh, wait. Hey, Lady Pop Hunter, I give you a shout out. So there's 5 channels I give a shout out to. You are one of them as well. So tomorrow's video, I give you a shout out because I haven't seen you for a while, and I'd like to kind of get you to hang out. So I give you a shout out. So another channel people should definitely check out. I like her channel. So I gave you a shout out in tomorrow's video, Lady Pop Hunter. And favorite manga, Bio Booster Amor Guyver. Don't know that one. That's an interesting one. I've never heard of it. Sorry. Oh, what's up? I think stickers, badges, and artwork outsell comics because there's less work involved. If you buy a sticker, all you have to do is look at it. With a comic book, you need to look at it and have to read it too. Yeah, that's true. And most of the time when people buy comics even, they're buying it for the artwork. They're just really, I think a lot of the sales nowadays, or especially, as I said, the only thing saving comics right now is the variant covers. Well, the only reason you buy a variant cover is you're not really reading the books. You know, you can't read the same book 20 times. You're buying covers. So yeah, so I agree with that. Bingo, that's it. Even though I'm a baby boomer. Sorry, Lyle. I didn't mean to try to kill you off or anything like that. It's a shame to see that there is a disconnect between generations where the children don't care about the hobbies of their parents. And I agree with that. This is a great channel, by the way, Open by Chance. So yeah, yeah, I agree. I kind of want to get my kids into the hobby. I'm trying to get them to appreciate it, but it is really hard, especially because one of the things is kids they don't really want you to push them into something, because once you push them into it, they want to rebel against that. And there's no real easy way for them to get into it themselves. And really what I've noticed with my own kids, this is me just speaking from my own experience, is my kids, anything before they were born is ancient history. So, and it's old, it's that old stuff, not cool. It's all black and white in their mind. It's like, movies from anything pre-2005, those must be black and white movies. Like, they didn't even have color back then. That's their mentality. They don't understand like so many great things were made back then. And what they think is that the modern stuff is better, just because it's modern, it's newer. And so what's happening is they'll watch the Western movies and they'll be like, oh, this isn't that great actually. And then they'll watch anime and they'll say, oh, anime's actually got fun stories, relatable characters, all this stuff. And that's where they gravitate to. Well, that doesn't really translate well into comic books because anime are not the comics that we collect. And the stories that they are seeing from the books that we collect are not the greatest stories. So there is almost an aversion to the books that we love for those reasons. Okay. Okay, one sec here. Sadly, these older generations pass on, and so does their knowledge. Yeah, that's the big thing I always like. I'm a big historian. Like, I love history. I'm a big history buff. I really research everything that I do, like everything that I try to learn. I don't just take whatever opinion is the current opinion. I actually do the research and kind of look at the historical documents. I love looking at it, historical event, take any event, and then looking at it from not only the perspective of now, but the perspective of when it actually happened and getting all the information from that era. And what happens is when those older generations die, you've all of a sudden broken that link to the past. And I really see that as a sad thing. And for nowadays, where the generation doesn't have that learned respect, like when I was a kid, you respected your elders. That was one of the things that was ingrained in us, that you really respect your elders. And you saw the wisdom of the elders. Nowadays, they're really, I find that the propaganda that they push in schools is very anti that. It's very communist. There's actually, if you watch the movie The Killing Fields, I always feel like the modern era is very much like The Killing Fields. Very great movie. I love that movie. There's a scene where they basically are teaching the kids how to think. And one of the things that they teach the kids is the kids are the dangerous ones in any communist society. The kids are the dangerous ones because the kids are easy to propagandize, get them to think a certain way. And what they do is the kids will rat on their parents. They'll have no connection to their own family. And the parents have to be scared of their own kids because the kids are very dangerous. And one of the things that they were showing in The Killing Fields, and why I love the movie so much, was they had this class of kids and they were teaching them all about, what they should do to be part of the true family, which is the Communist Party. And they had this chalkboard, okay? And they showed a picture of a family in stick figures, like mother, father, and then little children. They're all holding hands. And the teacher asked, what is wrong with this picture? And then they got one of the kids to come up to the board and fix the picture. And what they did was the kid went up and erased the lines between the family holding hands. And that was the true picture of the Communist Party, that it's not about the family, it's about the Communist Party. And that is what I see happening nowadays, that they're really pushing this idea that it's not the older generation that you should respect. It's kids that know. Kids know better than their parents do. And it's really a negative, very anti-community, anti-family kind of way of thinking. I really do feel like there's a lot of that going on nowadays. Wait a minute. Okay. I found Famous Funnies number 54, 1939 for $17. See, there are bargains in the golden age. Okay. Oh, thanks for you're welcome. You deserve it. You're great. So, and I hope we can do a show together sometime soon. And with your husband, Open by Chance. So both of you guys. Do you have the first appearance of Black Canary, Green Arrow's girlfriend? I have her first cover appearance, but I don't have her actual first appearance. Her first appearance is in Flash Comics 86, I believe. I don't have that book. It has like a dinosaur on it. But I'd love to get that book. Greetings. Do I have that copy of Hensi handy? Yeah, I do. Do you want me to go grab it? I can grab my Hensi. I love showing that book. I love that book. Not only is there a lack of respect, but there is a growing number of districts where none of these kids can read, write, or do math at grade level. Even education is going down the tube. Yeah, I agree. What they're teaching kids is really crap too. Do I collect baseball cards or Pokemon cards? No, I do not. Though I have a few of each. So I say that, but I actually have a few. I will grab my Hensi. I'm just going to grab my Hensi and come right back. One sec here. Okay, I don't have my Hensi. it's not as easy to find. I thought I had it really handy. It's not like it's not where it's supposed to be. I have to look for it again. I normally have it up displayed, but I was like moving books around and I can't find it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Lady Pop Hunter. I couldn't find my Hensi. It is there. It's actually one of the highest graded copies of the on the census, but I don't have it. I have it, but I don't know where it is. I love the book behind you on the left. Which one is that? On the left. My left, which would be this side. So, which one is it? I can show whatever book you want me to show behind me. That'd be easier. I will do that if you ask. Rafas Comics. Wow, hey, it's been a while since I've seen you. Do you remember the first comic that you brought with your own money? Do you still have it? Yes, I do. That would be my Howard the Duck #1. That was the first book that I bought, and it was the first book that I really collected. So yeah, that's that was my very first comic. And it was like $10. I remember how much I paid. It was big money. I paid too much for it actually in the end, but it was a book that I really thought was really great. Low on the low shelf by my shoulder. This one? Do you mean this one? Lady, do you mean this one? Left side. Okay, well, on my left. This would be, okay, for you guys, is this right? Is this left or right? So this is my left. Okay, so, oh, is this the one? Was this the right one? Okay, well, this is a L.B. Cole cover. Really great book. Yeah, I really like this one too, actually. Has so much going on. Actually, if you look at it, there's like so much going on. There's this girl that looks like Marilyn Monroe right there. There's just like a whole bunch of different party people going on. There's this weird green water. I don't know what's going on there, but it's supposed to be a swimming pool. I just love this book, actually. Yeah, really great one. I'm a big fan of L.B. Cole. As I said, if you watch my Wednesday video, I mentioned what my top 10 Golden Age artists are. L.B. Cole was number 3 because he's one of my favorite. Actually, there's a book back there that I really like even more than this one. But yeah, here, I'll show one more book from back here. I really love this book. This one I really love as well. I just think it's a really cool cover. So it's one I really like. I just, whenever I see it, I just, oh, I really love that book. I just, something about this one, I just think it's really cool. The judge, sort of like a death dude. doing the beauty contest. I really love it. Okay. My first comic I bought in 1967 was Action Comics 27 for $22. Wow. But I mean, that's probably a good deal now, but it must have been big money at the time. Wow. So the reason this is a 2.5, just so you know, here, I gotta show it a bit better. I gotta sneak in. As you can see, there's a big chip right there. That's the reason it's kind of lower grade. And the spine is not the greatest, actually. It looks kind of, it's not split or anything, but it's just very rough spine. It's okay. There. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's the reason. It's just, it's a little rough on that one corner. Actually, there's the back. Back's fine. Actually, the back presents better than the front. But that's the reason. There's that one chip. And if what happens is when for a 2.5, generally what you'll find is there'll either be a big piece missing, or the spine will be kind of split. Those are kind of the two big things that they look for. I would have graded this at that 2.5 level. Yeah, I think it was a fair grading. I mean, maybe a 3. If I probably resubmitted it 10 times, I would get a 3 on it. You know, like one of those things. But yeah, it's one of those ones where it's debatable about whether I could get even higher grade on it. But yeah, but it presents nicely, so I'm happy with it. I don't mind buying lower grade books when because they're, you know, they can be affordable and, you know, they present well. I'm happy. You know, part of the reason I have the big collection that I do is I don't mind buying the lower grades. And it makes it so that I can get a lot of cool books that I never thought I'd own, but yet can afford them. So yeah, so I really like that one. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. I didn't actually, you know, this was supposed to be like a 30-minute stream. I was just gonna quickly show some stuff. I didn't mean to go on those random rants, and I apologize for that. You know, yeah, I shouldn't rant too much. But hey, Roscoe, it's good to see you here. I think this is one of the few times you've attended one of my streams, so that's great. I appreciate you being here. As I was just about to wind down. If there's any other books you guys want me to show, I can show random books that I have next to me. Or I can head out. You guys decide. I'll let you guys control my life right now. You guys are in control of my life. Oh my goodness. So, so yeah, so you guys, if there's anything you want me to quickly show, I can quickly show whatever. And if not, I will wind up the stream and I'll see you guys in the next video, maybe. So, and check out tomorrow's video. I'm going to show my top 10 plastic age comics, which are pretty cool, actually. I picked out some pretty cool books. So yeah, that's basically it. Oh yes, see, you remember, like, you know, you defeated my Wonder Woman 1 with Street Sharks. That was one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life, you know. It's pretty brutal. I was like, how did he beat me with Street Sharks? So yeah, you totally devastated me with that. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out, Martin. I can't, it must be like really early in the morning. You get up early, man. I know it's really early in the morning in Australia. Sorry for asking so much questions, but do you have the first appearance of Bullet Man? Yes, I do. Do I have it handy? That's another question. Where is it? It's either in that black box or it's in that black box. Okay, I'm going to try to grab the first appearance of Bullet Man, and if I grab the wrong box, you get, it is what it is. I'm going to try to, no, it's okay. I always joke about the fact that I'm so brutalized by that, but, and I want to defeat you. I want a rematch, but I appreciate you actually kicked my butt, deservedly so. So I appreciate that. It's 7 a.m. in the morning here. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So just let me grab something. Oh. So this box. It's either this box or the other one. The other one's buried though. It's a little harder to get to. Oh, we got like Teen Titans in here. I don't know, Teen Titans #1. We got Brave and the Bold. Okay. We got the Funnies #1. This is the first appearance of a whole bunch of characters. Really old book. This is Platinum Age. I'm going to have. No, this is the wrong box. Shoot. Such a shame, too. Okay, it's a cool box, but not the right box. Shoot. Okay. Oh! Not the right box. Sadly so. I did find this one, though. Got that. It's very weird. Weird box. And the same box has this one too. You know, just a bunch of really cool books in this one box. Yeah, but it doesn't have my, I think it's in that box right there, which you can't see, but I'm pointing to it, that box. But it's buried. It's actually not only buried, it's buried in like multiple levels. It's like really awkward to get to. I would love to show it to you. You know, you can always, if you ever have it where you want to see like a specific book from my collection, on my Wednesday Q&A video, just say, hey, can you show me Bullet Man's first appearance? And I will show you Bullet Man's first appearance because I have it. You know, if you ask those kind of questions, I will do my best to provide a good answer and show the books. So yeah. Is your comic room filling up or running out of room yet? No, actually, you can't see it, but behind all these slabs behind me, there are empty shelves. So most of these are empty shelves. So I have like a huge amount of room to grow there. And I have another set of shelves on this wall over here where the same thing. I have like room to grow. Okay, maybe show that a little bit quickly. You can see like lots of slabs there. But there are like empty areas where I have room to grow. I figure I can grow by another 5,000 comics easily and have the space for it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Brave and the Bold is a underrated run. So many keys. You're right. There's like Brave and the Bold has just got like, you know, Teen Titans. It has like so many cool things in it. What's the Cindy book behind me? Where's the Cindy book? Let me just grab it. So this is the Cindy book. It's a low grade, but it's a beautiful one. Nice yellow cover. It's a very famous, this is a classic cover. Very expensive book, actually. Even in a low grade, it can go for big money. It's kind of one that's used for like tattoo artists. And believe it or not, this is actually interesting. This one is sort of funny because it is a 2.0, but white pages. Can you imagine white pages from the golden era? So really awesome. Hey, Joe. Black box, silver, and bronze. Is buying comics from Whatnot worth it? Probably. You can get some good deals there. Hey, everyone's saying hi. Biggie. Hey, Biggie. Welcome back. Yeah, this stream was meant to be like 30 minutes. And I was just doing it because I was waiting for a bunch of my clients to call me. And they didn't call me. I'm sort of disappointed. My clients didn't call me. So because they didn't call me, I had some time and I was just like, hey, I'll just hang out with people on live stream. I was waiting for somebody to interrupt the call, but they didn't call me. So I had some time today. That Cindy book presents well for a 2.0. Yeah, it does really. It does have some major issues though. Just so you know, I'm gonna show it again. It has like 3 major issues. It is a 2.0. It's missing a corner here, and it's missing a big chunk here. But other than that, it presents really, really well. That's why I love these low grades, because if I try to get this in a higher grade, this book's thousands of dollars. In this grade, even it's like $1,000. So yeah, it's just and it's a cute cover. I just really love this cover. But it was a good one to get. You'll have to let us know when you want us back on. Anytime you want to do a video with me, Open by Chance and Lady Pop Hunter. I'd love to have you guys hang out. Just, you guys just send me some times that will work for you, and then we'll hang out, because I enjoy you guys. Yeah, I see you guys as my friends, basically. What issues of Torch behind you? Okay, actually, it's Torchy. I'm just dismantling my wall. So this is the one behind me. This is Torchy. I have the complete run of Torchy, actually. This is Torchy number 2. And on this side, on the other side, I have Torchy number 6 and Torchy number 1. So the issue, it only ran 6 issues. So Torchy 1 through 6. And most of the covers were done by Gil Fox, except for issue number, I think number 5. Yeah. Number 6, sorry. Number 6 has Bill Ward cover art. So, Bill Ward's the one that actually created Torchy. So it's weird that he didn't do most of the covers for it, but he was the one that created Torchy. So Bill Ward is really great. He's one of my favorite artists, actually. Bill Ward is another one I really like. I actually actively collect Bill Ward artwork. It's just very, very cool stuff, but hard to find, actually. But you find it in weird places, Bill Ward stuff. So it's something I collect. But yeah, it's weird where you find Bill Ward stuff, but really great stuff. He's just a phenomenal artist. So I was really into collecting Torchy. Torchy's a great character. Yeah. Do you got Secret Origins number 1? I got the reprint yesterday. I think it's undervalued. A bunch of cool origins. I think I have actually 2 copies of Secret Origins number 1, strangely enough. I'm not sure where they are, but for some reason I kept on buying that book. I don't know why. I'm not sure why I bought that book so many times, but I just kept on buying it. Like I bought it back in the 90s, and then I bought it more recently for some reason. So I don't know. Yeah. 1961, I think. Yeah, somewhere around there. I think I have 2 copies of it, to tell you the truth. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I have 2 copies of it. I might be thinking of something else, but I'm pretty sure I have like the Teen Titans book. Yeah, it's a pretty cool one, actually. I'll show it again. One sec here. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting cover, actually. Very odd cover. Actually, not a bad grade. Like a 6.0 is a good grade, I find. Presents well. I like it because it shows all their different skills. You got Wonder Girl, and she's fighting some weird character, and you got Robin. Robin just being wimp. Robin's like, what is Robin? He's like in bondage up there. And then you got, Kid Flash, and it's just, I don't know, it's a cool cover. I just think it's cool in its own way. So yeah, 1966, and this is also a white pager. Wow, I'm so lucky. White pager. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I didn't realize it was a white pager. Not that I'm really into page quality, but I think it's cool when you find an old book that's white pages. I got a TT1. Yeah, so Teen Titans 1. Yeah, it's a great book. It's just a kind of a key classic book. First Teen Titans story. Not story, but title. So yeah, just a really great book. I bought a small tote of eerie and creepy magazines today for cheap. Oh, you're so lucky. Those are eerie and creepy magazines are fun. There's like really great stories, really great artwork even. Like Warren Publishing, and part of my love for Warren Publishing is that it's a mixture of those two classic elements. You want to have beautiful stories in terms of the artwork with just cool, like funky stories. Like I was a big fan of EC Comics in terms of the storytelling, in terms of that kind of, or anything like Tales from the Crypt, those kind of stories where it's like some twisted dark thing with twist ending, like some sort of horror elements. And Creepy and Eerie magazines had all that. And they're just really, really great artists were involved with Creepy and Eerie. So picking up those magazines for cheap, you're so lucky. Great covers, yeah, really great covers. One of the artists I first got really into was because of Creepy and Eerie, was actually Richard Corbin. I was really a big fan of Richard Corbin. I liked his style. I thought it was really cool. In a way, it kind of is like L.B. Cole, that it really stands out. It's weird colors. It's very vibrant. And at the same time, just very cartoony and had a weird style to it. I really enjoyed. And you get a lot of his covers inside of Eerie and Creepy. Black Box Silver and Bronze asks, Alan, do you have Blazing Combats #1, the first appearance of the Green Turtle? Is it the first appearance of the Green Turtle? I didn't know that. Yes, I have Blazing Combat #1, or Blazing Combat. I was thinking Blazing Combat. Blazing Comics. No, I don't have Blazing Comics #1. I read that totally wrong. I was reading as Blazing Combat. I was thinking Warren, and then so I read that as Blazing Combat, which is a cool comic, by the way. So yeah, Blazing Combat Comics #1, first appearance of the Green Turtle. I don't have that actually. I'll have to look that one up later. So yeah, I don't have that. Awesome that you got the first appearance of the Flash, Barry Allen, showcase #4. Do you also have the first appearance of Hal Jordan, showcase #22? Well, because it's in that box, I do. So it's in the same box. So the same box. So you see that's my showcase box. It has a couple other things other than showcase, but it's mainly my showcase box. So this is showcase #22, first appearance of Hal Jordan. So yeah, so I do have it, yes. So I pretty much, like in this one box, I have all the showcase keys. So another cool key is, and I don't know why this is mixed in with my showcase, but it is mixed in with my showcase. I love this book as well. This is another book I really love. This is All-Star Comics #60 or 58, which is the first Power Girl. I just love this book. This one is totally undervalued, in my opinion. So yeah, I really like this book. So so those are all in the same box. I don't know why they're all in the same box, but they are. But yeah, also I have the first appearance of the Spectre, Silver Age. Yeah, see, things like this, all in the same box. First Silver Age appearance of the Spectre, and also the first appearance of this dude. So yeah, a cool book. All in the same box. So all my showcase are in there. I have pretty much all the keys for showcase. I recently found out the Green Turtle, apparently, he is the first Chinese-American hero and was created by a Chinese-American artist in the Golden Age. Very cool. I love those kind of historical key books. First, black character, or first Chinese character, or first whatever character. I always love that. So yeah, I'll definitely look for him. So Blazing Comics #1. That's really cool. I'll have to look for that. Definitely. I love those kind of historically significant books. Definitely will be adding that to the collection when I can, if I can. It's like, I didn't know. Green Turtle. Interesting. I never even heard of the Green Turtle. But I always think of turtles as being green anyway, so who knows. So yeah, so that's some of the random stuff here. Yes, Showcase 22 is definitely a banger. Definitely a great book. Actually, though, I'll show you a different book. And this is one that nobody really considers a key. It's not a big key. It actually does have a first appearance. But in my mind, it is a cooler book than either Showcase 4 or Showcase 22. And it's Showcase #1. And the reason I like this book is it's the first in the run, first of all. It's the first appearance of this fireman guy, Fireman Farrell. But, it's just such a cool piece of history. This is the #1 of a kind of a cool series that had so many key appearances. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, so this book I really like because it is the very first in the series. And it's a hard book to find, really hard book to find. Quite expensive generally too. I paid equivalent to $700 for it. So, do I have Pep Comics #1? Yes, I do. Actually, I have Pep Comics #1. Pep Comics. My Pep Comics #1 is a bit pathetic though. My Pep Comics #1 is coverless and missing several pages, so it's barely a comic. It is there, but it's very, 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 very rough. I have to say. One second. Do I have it handy? I'm not even sure if I have it handy. One sec here. One sec. I'm trying to find it. Nope. Not in there. Huh. It's not, it's in this box that's right next to me, but I can't get to it. It's like buried. There's about 200 books that are on top of it. Sad. Okay, I wanted to show it, but it's in really rough shape is the point. Did you get the comic book Despero #3, 1948, Canadian variant yet? No, I did not, and that's a very expensive book. I really want to get that book. It's the first appearance of Bush Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I did not get it, but I do know it. It's on my want list. It's a really expensive book, though. Crazy expensive. Green must be a favorite color for some superheroes like Green Hornet, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Green Turtle. I never heard of the Green Turtle. Me either. So, yeah. It's okay. I trust you. I will show it, Biggie. I will show it on the next collector club. How about that as a deal? I'll bring it to the next collector club. I'll say, hey, here's a here's a cool book. So it'll be like, people will be like, oh, that's really weird. So I'll bring it next collector club. Do you think you'll ever get all your comics in alphabetical and chronological order? No. That's a very easy answer, because I know my organization skills are terrible. Like, I am the least organized person in terms of my comics. But yeah. Do you ever think about coming down to the States? I will actually be in the States in when? In December. I'll be in Florida. I always go to Florida for Christmas. So I'll be in Florida for Christmas. I'll be in Sarasota in Florida. So I'll be down. I always travel down to the States for Christmas. Yeah. Oh, and Joe, I saw your pictures. That's cool. Hey, thank you, Biggie. I will. Hopefully, you'll like that. I can show it. It's kind of cool, actually. Even though it's a coverless copy, it's still cool. Stop by Georgia. I wish I could stop by Georgia and say hi, but Georgia's a bit far of a drive. So I'll fly to Florida, and then I'll be like, driving around to like, Disney World and all that kind of stuff. How about first Buck Rogers? No, I don't have the first Buck Rogers. I have the first Tarzan, but not Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers is actually kind of a key book that there's actually a couple first appearances for Buck Rogers. It's Amazing Stories, I think, is his first appearance. But then later it's in another book, which I don't have. So I don't have Amazing Stories either. I do have Popeye's first appearance, though. Good luck in the upcoming awards. I'm very jealous. Oh, well, maybe next time you can get nominated. I'll nominate you if you want. Yeah, I'm up for, speaking of awards, if you guys want to help me out, in the description for this video, I put a link to where you guys can vote for me. So vote for me for best comic book unboxing. I really want to win. It's all about becoming cool with my family. It's the only pop I like. There's lots of great pulp comics, actually. Pop, not, I said pop, I meant pulp. It's a really great pulp book, but there's other great pulp books as well. One sec here. You should visit Urban Legend Comics in Florida. Greg is nice and to deal with. Pretty sure it's near Sarasota. Yeah, the only problem is whenever I go, if I try to do anything comic related or like do things for myself, my family gets mad at me. So it's really hard to actually look at comics when I'm on vacation. It's really hard. Okay. Tarzan, very cool. I actually have first Tarzan. Tarzan's first appearance is in New Funnies #1. And it's in the same box that has my first Bullet Man. So they're in the same box. You should win unboxing. I agree. I should win. Oh, I hope I win. I'm not. Actually, I'm up against really stiff competition. They're great channels too. I just want to win. I just hope I win. It'd be great if I do. I've been doing this for a while now, and I feel like I really want to have the channel get recognized if possible. It's still a small channel, and I want to build it, and I enjoy doing this. It's like my fun hobby. I was going to ask you if you had the first Tarzan, but I already knew you did. Yeah, I do. It's actually a pretty cool comic because it's not only the first Tarzan, it's the first like whole bunch of characters. Like there's like so many characters, and they're all on the cover. It's not only normally with Golden Age, it's like the character makes their first appearance and you don't see them on the cover, but it's a cover where it has all these characters on the cover. It's just a really cool book. and it's really right there. It's right there. But it's blocked. I'll show that one too if you want. Then we'll search for comics for you. Then your family won't know. Yeah, maybe that's the only way. Yeah, if I get to sneak out and look around, I will definitely try to do so and go to the comic shops. I enjoy going to the comic shops. It's a little hard with the family. So yeah. Yeah, my wife not liking comics makes it really difficult for me to go to comic shops. But I enjoy going to comic shops. So yeah. So yeah, so that was a little bit of stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, I don't know, what was this one? I feel like this. No, I was thinking this. One sec, sorry. There was something that was staring at me, and I was like, "Oh, is that?" No, it isn't the one I was thinking it was. So yeah. So thanks everyone for watching and hanging out with me for the last 2.5 hours, which is crazy. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you caught it sort of midstream, go check out the full video. Ignore all the political stuff. I have a tendency of ranting if people kind of ask me the right questions, which always gets me into trouble. Now my channel will be shadow banned for another 2 weeks or so. It'll be awesome. But yeah, so yeah. One last question here. Awesome showcase. Do you have the first appearance of the Atom, showcase 34? Do you mean this book? Yes, I do. So as I said, I have all the key first appearances from showcase. So this is 34. Really cool book too. I really like the Atom. So yeah. Awesome show. Thank you, Alan, as usual. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the positive feedback. So yeah, so thanks again for everyone watching, and please vote for me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And if you know other people that haven't subscribed to the channel, tell them to subscribe to the channel. And if I get to 5,000 subscribers, I will give away a cool book, a really cool book. So I'm kind of building it up each time. So yeah, that's the goal. That's the next landmark for my channel, is to get to 5,000 subscribers. The Phantom Lady 17 just went for 48K on Heritage Auctions. Yeah, actually the biggest sale for Phantom Lady 17 was 400,000, just so you know, for a high grade copy. I think it was a 9.0. Mine's an 8.5, just to give you a sense of how expensive that book is. But I got it restored, and when you buy restored, you get cheap deals. So I got it really cheap as a result. So my Phantom Lady, I'll tell you actually how much I paid. So here it is. 8.5 restored because of cover cleaning. It has cover cleaning, and I believe the staples were replaced. Wait. Small amount of color touch on the cover, spine seal to cover, cover cleaned, staples cleaned. Staples cleaned, not replaced. So it's a cleaning. It was a cleaning, and because of that, it's an 8.5. So because this cover was cleaned, 8.5, I got it for $14,000. That's cheaper than a 0.5 goes for. So just a great deal. I just love the fact that I could get a super high grade copy for cheap. That's just awesome. So yeah, yeah, it's a great book. I love that book. So yeah, so thanks again, everyone. Bye for now. Bye.